Hello. Today we're going to do a drawing of a cardinal, and it's going to be sitting on a branch that has snow on top of the branch. So let's get started. You're going to need a piece of paper and a pencil, and then you'll also need markers and crayons or whatever you have at home to add color to your artwork. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with some simple lines and shapes to create the bird's body. Right here in the middle of our paper, we're going to draw a diagonal. And this is going to be the bird's back. Now to create his body and his head, we're going to draw a big curved line that starts at the bottom and curves up to the top of that diagonal line. So this will be his stomach, and up here, this is going to be his face and head. So before we add those details, we're going to add the tail feather onto our bird. So we're just going to extend this line down, and then we want to leave a little space, and we're going to draw another line about the same length. And instead of connecting it with a straight line, we're going to use like a zigzag or a wiggly line so that it gives it a texture. So it looks like feathers. All right, and then let's add our wing up here. So our wing's going to overlap right here in the middle of the back. And we're going to draw it like an oval, but instead of closing the oval, I am going to use another zigzag line so it looks like feathers. So I'm going to start here, and I'm going to come up and curve around like I'm going to create an oval, but just as I pass over the line where the back is, I'm going to stop, and here I'm going to add a zigzag for my feathers. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to erase this line that goes through the wing because we want to make it look like the wing is on top. So the wing is overlapping the rest of the body. Don't worry if you can't erase it all the way. We will be adding more lines and color, so that'll hide some of that doesn't erase completely. And remember, to avoid it, you can always draw soft and light and then make your lines darker later. So let's add our beak. We're going to put it right over here, and I'm just using 2 diagonal lines so it looks like a triangle. And I'm just going to divide that with a line. And then I'm going to add an eye. And since we're making a cardinal, we're going to put this black mask on our bird. So he almost looks like he has a mohawk or a pointy head. That's just his feathers. And then we're going to draw around his eye, and we're going to come below his beak. So it almost looks like a mask or a beard. And we'll color that in black later. So let's add some little feet down here close together. So we want to start with our leg, 2 lines close together, and then diagonal those out. And now I'm going to create 3 little toes, and I'm going to do that just by doing like an upside down letter V, and I'm going to put 2 of those here, 2 little ones, 1, 2. Some of the kids said it looks like a W, like an upside down W, or a letter M. Okay, so draw 2 feet close together. Just follow the same steps for both. You can draw them differently if you want. And then we're going to draw our branch. But before we do that, let's add some texture onto our bird. So we want to make this look like feathers. Here we're going to draw some straight lines. And here on the wing, we'll draw a few curved lines. It's okay if they bump into each other. And now let's draw our branch of our tree coming in from the edge of our page. So it's growing this way. And I want to kind of line it up with where my bird's feet are. Okay, so Mrs. Corrigan's going to draw soft and light right through there, through the tail feather, through his little legs. And then I'm going to draw the bottom part of my branch. So I want to make sure my little feet are touching the branch. And I'm still drawing soft and light. And now I want to make this come to some kind of a point at the end. Okay, and don't worry, we'll erase these lines out in a little bit. And then let's make this look like a letter Y. So we'll draw another little branch coming up off of there. Have it create a point. And you can add more branches if you want. Maybe you have one growing down here. Comes to a point at the end. Let's make it look like a letter Y with more. I could even do more if I wanted. Okay. So Mrs. Corrigan's going to go ahead now, and I'm going to start to outline my pencil lines with marker so that they stand out. That way when I color my artwork, everything shows up nice and dark and bold. Okay. So don't worry if you don't trace on your lines exactly, because you can always erase. And you can even color in the bird's face now if you want to. I'm just going to move on to the branches because I want to show you guys how to add snow to the top of your branch. Okay, so here's where I can now erase the lines that go through the tail feather because I already outlined my tail feather. Okay, and then remember how I showed you, hold your paper with your fingers and your thumb and just erase in between. All right, now what I would suggest is that you color your branch first, and then we'll add snow on top. Okay, that way you won't get confused about where you should be coloring brown. All right, you could use crayon, marker, colored pencil. Mrs. Corrigan's just using marker. Okay, and then to add my snow on top of my branches, I can use either a black or a blue marker, because the snow's just going to stay white like your paper. And then you can decide what kind of sky you want to do. All right, now it's winter in my picture, so I'm gonna grab my black marker and I'm just gonna add some snow, and my snow's just on top of the branches, and I'm just doing this with a wiggly line, right? So it looks like there's some snow sitting on top of that branch, and maybe there's some on top of this branch too, and a little here, and a little there. All right, and then you can start to do your sky. So maybe you want to add little circles that look like snow, and maybe you want to add little snowflakes. So that's up to you. You could use blue, you could use the winter colors, the cool colors, blue, green, purple. You decide. I am going to do a rubbing for my sky. So for this picture, I just colored normal with my crayon. You can kind of see my lines going side to side. On this one, I did a rubbing where I peeled the paper off of my crayon and I laid it on that side, and then I just rubbed it back and forth. And I even used some green in there. And if I had a purple one, I would probably add a little purple. So again, the way I do that is I peel the paper off of my blue crayon and I hold my paper with my other hand and I just rub my crayon back and forth while it's laying down on its side. And remember, you can always turn your paper to get a better angle. And I just kind of put that wherever I want it. And I don't want it on my snow, but I do want it in here in between my cardinal's body and the snow. So that's just another option of how you can quickly fill in that sky area. Okay, and that looks really beautiful when you finish it. And don't forget, you can add other colors in. Maybe I want a little green in there, mixed in with my blue. And you'll get some really pretty effects. So take a picture when yours is all finished. I don't want to see any pencil line showing when you are done. And then submit your picture to me. I cannot wait to see your artwork.